Hello and welcome to the morning edition of updates for the people in St. Lucia, St. Lucians in the diaspora. We're coming from the government of St. Lucia, bringing you these latest updates, particularly as we continue to contend with COVID-19. Good morning to you. We're coming to you live from the Information Command Center from the GIS studios. My name is Jessie Leonce, and today is Friday, the 25th of June, 2021. We're rounding off June, entering July. Preps for the resumption of cruise tourism, among other subsectors of our lifeblood industry. And meanwhile, we continue to have our vaccination program on the agenda, high on the agenda, as well as the management of COVID-19. We have new cases of COVID-19 to record, as well as the recovery of 3 individuals. So we will give you that update in just a moment. Also, changes in the COVID-19 prevention and control regulations. Stay with us. We'll let you know what you can and cannot do with these updates in the regulations, taking effect today, Friday, June 25th, until Tuesday, the 31st of August, 2021. Among them, curfew changes. So stay with us for that. We have the incoming chairman of the OECS Authority highlighting priority areas to take the sub-region forward, and the Consumer Affairs Department assisting a primary school in tackling plastic pollution. And also St. Lucia's economy is realizing, soon to realize, some gains through the National Health Insurance Initiative. So stay tuned for these stories, these updates, and more coming up directly after this break.
Do you know we can limit the spread of the COVID-19 virus? The Ministry of Health is your partner in achieving this solution. Introducing the Amber Wristwatch. The Amber Wristwatch is designed for monitoring daily movements while in quarantine. It provides an accurate location and a precise heart rate. The device is also waterproof and can be worn during all daily functions, like washing the dishes or taking a shower. It's worn like a typical timepiece. The Ministry of Health can now better monitor people in home quarantine and receive alerts of those who do not stay in the confines of their home. A 14-day rental of the Amber Wristwatch is just $75 US. Let us stop the breaches of home quarantine.
In an effort to ensure patient and first responder safety, the St. Lucia Fire Service has reviewed its patient transfer procedures, especially for patients with respiratory distress. Face masks will be provided. At no time during transportation should the face mask be removed. Please be patient and cooperative during this time to ensure you receive the best possible care while keeping our first responders safe.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you're just joining us on air online, thanks for tuning in. Good morning to you. Thanks for making this your morning station, your wake-up station, NTN, for the latest from the government of St. Lucia. The government has approved amendments to the COVID-19 prevention and control regulations effective Friday, June 25th, 2021, that is today, until Tuesday, August 31st, 2021. The decisions by Cabinet of the Cabinet of Ministers have been taken following consultation with the command center and based on the data related to the number of active cases in St. Lucia. The government is mindful of the sectors that have been impacted by COVID-19 and anticipates that the latest measures will assist the transportation, food and beverage, as well as the event sector, as well as linkage industries. The latest measures are as follows. So you're listening? We do hope you are listening and understanding what will obtain from now until August 31st. So we start with the curfew that is made possible by the state of emergency. The curfew has been adjusted to 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. each day. Yes, faith-based organizations also may hold special religious rites, including weddings, baptisms, and funerals with a maximum of 100 persons in attendance. Graduation and school leaving ceremonies have been permitted based on the square footage of the building and in keeping with all established COVID-19 protocols. Social events with up to 150 fully vaccinated people are permitted after authorization through the Ministry of Health and the Commissioner of Police. A public omnibus operator will be permitted to carry up to 3 passengers per row. So that's the update on the public transportation sector. So a public omnibus operator will be permitted to carry up to 3 passengers per row. Now we come on to the liquor licenses. A person with a valid liquor license under the Liquor License Act, Cap 13.17, that offers for sale or disposes of intoxicating liquor only, shall be permitted to operate from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. on each day. Returning nationals and visitors with a negative PCR test and who are fully vaccinated will not require quarantine. Random testing will be done at all arrival points. Notwithstanding, the CMO retains the power, that is the Chief Medical Officer, she retains the power to place visitors in quarantine in order to protect the public health. The government is also pleased to announce the resumption of inter-island ferry services, that is from Martinique to St. Lucia, with effect from July 1st, 2021. So from July 1st, 2021, that is next week, there will be a resumption of inter-island ferry services from Martinique to St. Lucia. The full policy for implementation of these measures, this adjustment to the COVID-19 control regulation, will be made available to the public. If you want some more information on this, you want some more elucidation, you can go on to the website covid19response.lc, that is COVID-19response.lc for some more information. This is just the adjustment, and we do hope that everyone adheres to the protocols. We are still at risk, we remind you, for COVID-19, making significant stride with the vaccination. Nonetheless, we need to continue adhering to these protocols. See the leeway that we're getting from the government of St. Lucia. It is not to be abused. It is not to be disregarded, disobeyed. These are enshrined in the law, and we should adhere to them. And we're seeing not necessarily a restriction or a tightening of a belt. There is some slackening. There is some leeway that is being provided to the population at this time to assist the transportation, food and beverage, as well as event sectors and other linkage industries as well. So please take note of this. And I mean, I for one can say that I definitely appreciate this space that we have been afforded based on the strides that we have made in the management of COVID-19. We continue for the morning. St. Lucia is recording 12 new cases of the virus. Yesterday, that was Thursday, June 24th, the Ministry of Health and Wellness received confirmation of 12 new cases, and this was out of a batch of 239 samples that were taken from June 21st to the 23rd. They were all processed this week on Wednesday. These newly diagnosed individuals were seen at various respiratory clinics, community clinics on island, nothing out of the ordinary, and they were all tested for COVID-19. Arrangements have since been made for the individuals who've been confirmed infected to be placed into isolation. Contact tracing for these individuals is also now underway. As of the 23rd of June, that was Wednesday this week, 30,397 individuals received their first dose of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, and 21,452 of those who have received their second dose of the vaccine. The COVID-19 vaccination continues to cater to individuals 18 years and older for the first dose, as well as for the individuals who are due for their second dose of the vaccine. The continued admonition in every press release from the Ministry of Health and Wellness is that we continue to adhere to the legislation, to the basic infection prevention recommendations advised by the Ministry of Health. So please take note of these latest updates, the curfew changes, the adjustments to the COVID-19 and prevention control legislation, as well as the new cases coming out of, as well as recoveries coming out of the Department of Health and Wellness. At this time, we want to bring to your attention word from the incoming chair of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States. You would recall that just last week we observed the 40th anniversary of the OECS, the Treaty of Basse-Terre being established, and Prime Minister of Grenada, the Right Honorable Dr. Keith Mitchell, who is the incoming chair of the authority, has identified priority areas to take the sub-region forward. The incoming chair did note that the world is going through the most challenges of times, explained that the vision during these times is a combination of discernment, conviction about the most appropriate direction, and the courage of leadership. Dr. Mitchell highlighted areas of priority as the OECS seeks to weather the unexpected storm that is the COVID-19 pandemic. We go to our first clip for the morning.
The 5 key priorities for this leg of our journey involve: 1. Accelerating regional integration. We must pick up the pace of this relay, and as we round up this dangerous curve, we must recognize that our integration marathon is not simply about endurance, but also the speed. 2. Reinventing the economy. 3. Valuing our environment. 4. Building resilience. And 5. Enabling equity and inclusion. The last 4 represent a matrix foundation which must be constructed as essential to the regional integration project.
The role of the OECS Commission continues to be of paramount importance, and he disclosed that he is proud of the work of the OECS Commission and its undertakings in several areas, including that of education and healthcare resource mobilization. Despite the many fallouts brought on by the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, the incoming chair is remaining optimistic and reported that many opportunities have been revealed.
Infusing this approach will be cross-cutting themes that enrich the quality of our efforts. Entrepreneurship, gender equity, digital innovation, and the empowerment of youth are the interlinked strands which will make the process stronger and the results better. Sisters and brothers, in every situation of crisis, there are seeds of opportunity, which if properly reaped, can yield transformational harvest. This is such a time. The concurrent crises that have afforded us have impacted the entire planet. They have also exposed many weaknesses of the global development model that require transformation. And we have the opportunity as small island developing states to build to scale a greener, bluer, and more inclusive, more resilient, and more sustainable OECS.
The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, incoming chairman of the OECS Authority and Prime Minister of Grenada. He was at the time addressing the 70th meeting of the OECS Authority, which is held virtually on the 18th of June 2021. We want to continue on with our updates for this morning, but I think we're due for a break, so stay with us. When we come back, the Department of Agriculture is continuing to press down on the long-standing issue of stray animals along the main road network around the island. Stay tuned.
We can win this war. Get vaccinated. We're taking our life back. Get vaccinated. We know what to do. Get vaccinated. COVID-19 we won't lose to you. Oh no. Take 2 doses. Take our life back. Time for a brand new day. Take 2 doses. Take our life back. To live and work and play. Take 2 doses. Take our life back. The health experts we trust. Take 2 doses. Take our life back. Vaccinate for you, for yours, for us.
Let's take our life back with a safe and effective AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. The mobile vaccination drive is coming to you. Visit the Ministry of Health and Wellness and Bureau of Health Education Facebook pages for more information. Let's take our life back. Vaccinate for you, for yours, for us.
Get Get vaccinated.
This message is brought to you by the Bureau of Health Education of the Ministry of Health and Wellness and this station.
With all that's happening around us, simple adjustments are necessary to keep us all safe. When calling 911, we may need a little more information to deploy the right personnel and protocols. You may be asked about your travel history, signs and symptoms, contact and movement history, and whether others in your household are exhibiting similar symptoms. Please be patient and cooperative during this time to ensure you receive the best possible care while keeping our first responders safe.
Thank you so much for staying with us. The Department of Agriculture continues to press down on the long-standing issue of stray animals along the main road networks around the island. We have Anicia Antoine with a report.
The Animal Act, established in 2005, provides for the prevention of cruelty to animals, the seizure and impounding of stray animals, the proper control of animals, and related matters. Agriculture Officer at the Livestock and Veterinary Division, Timothy Norville, says that while the department's efforts to control the stray livestock continue, public adherence to the legislation put in place by the government of St. Lucia plays a major role in preventing an increase. He also made mention of the growing issue of stray animals in the community of Bossejou.
The history of the donkeys is that many years ago when Montserrat had the volcanic eruption, some donkeys were gifted to certain farmers in the north of the island. Over the years, the original owners for these animals have passed away, and those animals have been able to multiply. The major problem is that those animals are not in a fenced area per se. They are allowed to roam from the beach under the wooded areas, and now they've moved into the residential areas. Not that they had not been in those places before, but over the last 20 years, a lot of development has taken place in the Bossejou area. So a lot of those woodlands, which would have been free roaming for farmers to use, have now become residential areas. And now you find that there's a problem because the donkeys, which would have been free roaming, now enter into the property, and residents are disgruntled.
Another major impediment, according to Norville, is the presence of stray dogs on the island. He explains that over the years, stray dogs have been one of the major causes of farmers losing their produce and livestock.
A stray animal could pose a problem not only to itself but to people's properties, people's crops, etc., etc. But not because an animal is tied, and that's where we get a little bit of confusion. Some people believe because it's their property, they can tie their animal anywhere. If an animal is tied close to a footpath, close to a road, close to any access way which is used by pedestrians, it can be posed as a problem, and these animals too can be impounded. So for instance, if you have a cow and you tie it in your yard, but you give it a 40-foot rope and it could stretch out and walk across the road, it could stretch out and be a hindrance to walking pedestrians or driving motorists and stuff like that, you have just breached the law, and these animals can be impounded.
Mr. Norville encourages the public to keep their animals in a manner that does not endanger motorists or the general public. From the Communications Unit of the Ministry of Agriculture, I am Anicia Antoine reporting.
Thank you very much, Anicia, for that report. We move on to the Consumer Affairs Department. They have donated reusable water bottles through its consumer education program at the Ave Maria Girls Primary School to help tackle pollution. We have Marvin St. Louis with a report.
Small, yet all significant steps in the right direction. In a year where international organizations are clamoring for action to tackle plastic pollution, the Consumer Affairs Department did just that. The highlight of the day, consumer education. And it was fun.
So today we are here to educate the young ones because the Consumer Affairs Department, which falls under the Ministry of Commerce, is responsible for educating consumers to assist them in making informed purchasing decisions. And we are here because we believe that we need to start with the young ones so that they can grow up and they can continue. It could be a part of them, their habits, their practices, and they too can also assist us as young ambassadors to share the word, to spread the word.
The consumption and improper disposal of single-use plastics has become a global crisis. An estimated 8 million tons of plastic enters our oceans every year, damaging marine ecosystems. The Consumer Affairs Department is promoting the circular model of waste management, which includes reduce, reuse, and recycle. The student is happy to spread this message.
I learned more about stopping pollution, spreading the word to others, and I learned reduce, reuse, and recycle, 3 important words.
The production and consumption of plastics has skyrocketed since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. As the world battles this global crisis, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Commerce is appealing to consumers to do all they can to save the environment.
Remember the 3 R's: reuse plastics, reduce the use, and also recycle. There is currently a Replast project, and we'd like to encourage you to collect your plastics and drop them off at the strategic points so that these can be exported and recycled.
From the Ministry of Commerce, I'm Marvin St. Louis reporting.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We're now down to we're due for our final segment coming up directly after this break. And thank you, Marvin, for that quick report coming out of the Consumer Affairs Department. Stay with us.
We at war with a virus, ready to harm us. Panic is not the answer. We can win this together.
Often use hand sanitizer, better yet use soap and water.
We must protect each other if we are to beat this corona.
Together let us win this war. Be a soldier for St. Lucia. Together let us win this war. Be a soldier, together we can beat this corona.
So you don't become the next case. Avoid touching your face. I'm sure you've been told so. Handshakes and hugging her up, no.
Advice give you the please. Cover your mouth and your nose if you cough or sneeze.
Practice social distancing and avoid large social gatherings.
Together let us win this war. Be a soldier for St. Lucia. Together let us win this war. St. Lucia, be a soldier. Together we can beat this corona.
For further information, please contact the hotline at 311 or the Bureau of Health Education at 468-5349.
What's in the food you're eating? Do you really even know? All the chemicals and hormones used to accelerate their growth. All the artificial flavoring, sweeteners and colors too. We consume and we don't spare a thought for the damage that they'll do. No. Think about the children. Think about the children. How will we save them? Chemicals and GMOs are not the solution. Use organic and join.
Excessive agrochemical use, additives, and genetically modified foods are harmful to health and the environment. Join the good food revolution. Grow, buy, and consume organic. A message from Rise St. Lucia and the Ministry of Sustainable Development with funding from the GEF Small Grants Program, UNDP.
The good food revolution.
We're now down to our final segment of the morning update live on NTN. The Sir Arthur Lewis Community College, through its agricultural program, is contributing to national efforts geared towards achieving food security. The college's farm strives to be the model example of advanced agricultural techniques via the use of precision farming. It provides students the opportunity to exercise agricultural practices, and it is open to fifth form students working on their student-based assessments, SBAs at a CXC level. Farmers seeking to improve their knowledge of farming measures are welcome to visit the farm as well. St. George James is the technical officer at the Sal CC farm.
For instance, I know we were the first set of people, I think, that grew with the hydroponic system, that we grew our crops in flower pots, in bags, to control the soil-borne disease, waterborne disease, and to have a better production on farm.
The farm contributes significantly to the country's food security and provides agricultural produce to hotels and supermarkets.
If I may elaborate more, it's not just the teaching service that we have. We also have services where we help with food security. We have our outlets where we sell what we produce on farm, which is the eggs, the pork, all the crops. So we sell in the supermarkets, the hotels, and also the public. And we have a thriving market even at the college itself.
The introduction of the agri-entrepreneurship and climate-smart agricultural programs is an example of the college's continuous innovation with a view at improving the student experience. Dr. Mitchell Nurse, who is the president/principal of the South Louis Community College, did weigh in on this aspect of the college.
For the last academic year, we switched around the agriculture program, so it's now entitled Agri-Entrepreneurship and Climate-Smart Agriculture. And in fact, we have several programs, both in relation to teaching and research, and also to new crop generation. So for example, with the Canadians, we have something called SAGE, Skills to Access the Green Economy, and that's very much focused on generating some new practices in relation to climate change and climate smart agriculture.
Keith Mitchell from the South Louis, Keith Nurse, apologies, getting mixed up with the previous story this morning, from the South Louis Community College. The institution's farm is located in Dennery and runs several units, including the crops and livestock unit, which opens open field production, wind tunnels, aquaculture, and hydroponics. So that brings us to the end of our morning update for today, Friday, the 25th of June, 2021. My name is Jessie Leon, signing off for today. Before I leave, I just want to bring to you the latest developments out of the government of St. Lucia for this 24-hour news cycle. A national health insurance promising a more equitable society. We have the incoming chairman of the OACS Authority highlighting priority areas to take the sub-region forward. And Consumer Affairs Department assisting primary school, the Ave Maria Girls Primary School, in tackling plastic pollution. Thank you so much for watching. Keep in mind the adjustments that have been made to the COVID-19 prevention and control regulations, primarily the curfew, which has now been adjusted to 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. each day. Please take note and stay on the right side of the law this weekend. You can go on to the Facebook page of the Government of St. Lucia, the Office of the Prime Minister, the Ministry of Health, also COVID-19response.lc to get familiar with these new regulations that will guide us until the 31st of August 2021. Again, my name is Jessie Leon, signing off for now. TGIF, enjoy the weekend, keep safe, and see you on Monday, God willing. Goodbye.